When President Trump is doing good stuff, I will praise him. And I don't mind him publishing text messages. And if anyone thinks here, again, that the European Union or Europe as a whole can defend itself without the US, keep on dreaming. You can't. We can't. We need each other. And why do we need each other? I tell you. First of all, because also the US needs NATO. And the US is not only in NATO to prevent a mistake after the First World War, not to re-engage with Europe. And then again, the long arm of history reaching out to the US again in the Second World War, as Churchill famously said in his speech in 1941 in the US Congress. They are also in NATO because for the US to stay safe, and by the way, Arctic region is evidence here, they need a secure Arctic, they need a secure Euro-Atlantic, and they also need to secure Europe. So the US has every interest in NATO as much as Canada and the European NATO allies.
This is my video update on this Tuesday afternoon, January the 27th, coming to you from Athens, Greece. Let's talk about some news. And yesterday's clown world focused on the EU approving the cutting off of Russian pipeline gas and LNG to the European Union. And this was framed as some sort of energy independence victory for the European Union, because in EU land, when you have one supplier, that means you're independent. When you have 3 or 4 suppliers, that means you're dependent. So the European Union with the one supplier, effectively one supplier being the United States of America and US LNG, that means that the European Union is now energy independent, liberated from the shackles of being dependent on 2 or 3 or 4 gas suppliers. If I'm running a business and I have 3 suppliers, if I'm running a coffee shop and I have 3 coffee suppliers, then that means that I am in a box. I am dependent. If I remove one of those suppliers, cut them off, the second supplier is a minor supplier of my coffee, but that second supplier, let's call them Qatar Coffee, will do whatever the last remaining big supplier tells it to do. Let's call the last remaining big supplier Trump Coffee. Well, then that means that I'm coffee independent according to EU logic. Does any of that make any sense? No, of course it doesn't make any sense. This is economic, energy, industrial self-deletion, but the European Union is not bothered or concerned with economics or sovereignty or anything like that. It's no longer an economic or financial project. It is a geopolitical project, a vassal project to the United States. And so they are now cheering the signing of the ban of Russian gas. It is now EU law. This is from the X account of Roberta Metsola, who says, "We have just signed the ban on Russian gas into law. Europe is securing control over our energy supply and strengthening our autonomy." Strengthening our autonomy. It's upside down world. Upside down world. Left is right, up is down, black is white is black, right is left. Yes, now you are dependent on the United States, on US President Trump for the next 3 years. autonomy achieved. And this follows up on the whole Greenland thing, right? The trade war that might have happened over Greenland that Trump was threatening, the tariffs and the possible trade war that Trump was threatening if he was not given Greenland. And of course, Trump had all the leverage. Why did Trump have all the leverage over the European Union? Because he controlled the energy for the European Union. The entire energy supply was controlled by Trump. So he had all the cards in what could have been a very nasty trade war between the United States and the EU. Nasty for the EU, not so nasty for the United States. So after everything that happened with Greenland, what does the EU decide to do? Let's get rid of Russian gas and be completely dependent on Trump and the United States. Success. Autonomy achieved. Oh boy. What a disaster for the European Union, for the citizens of the European Union, because businesses are going to continue to close, deindustrialization will continue, and the prices will also go up for everybody in the European Union. This is from the ex-account of the Kobasi letter. Breaking U.S. natural gas prices extend gains to plus 40% on the day, now on track for one of the largest daily gains in history. Natural gas prices are now up to 240% since January the 16th. That's like gas prices rising from $3 per gallon to $7.20 per gallon in 5 trading days. Commodities are on fire. I wonder why U.S. natural gas prices are going up. I wonder why. I wonder who owns stock in these LNG companies, or who puts some trades on the price of LNG, on the belief that LNG is going to skyrocket over the past couple of weeks. So Hungary and Slovakia, they are going to take this to court. They are going to take this to, I believe, the ECJ, the European Court of Justice, I believe, is where this will go, because according to Hungary, this is EU trickery. You see the passing of this law to phase out Russian gas was done with a majority vote. And the reason it needed only a majority vote is because the action of phasing out Russian gas was switched. It was part of the sanctions package, and as part of the sanctions package, it would have needed a unanimous vote, and that would have meant that Hungary would have been able to veto the phasing out of Russian gas. Hungary is very dependent on Russian gas and Russian energy. Russian pipeline gas, I believe, through, is it the Nord Stream pipeline that feeds into Hungary? I believe that's the one pipeline that's left, and that is the pipeline that Hungary is very dependent on. You're also talking about Serbia and Slovakia as well. That are getting the pipeline gas from Turkstream. I could be wrong about that. Let me know in the comments down below. But I believe that is the last remaining pipeline for Russian gas into Europe, and that is the crucial pipeline for these countries. Anyway, this was part of the sanctions package, the Russian gas, and for it to be renewed, it needs a unanimous vote, and Hungary would have been able to block the cutting off of the gas. And what the EU did is that they recategorized the phasing out of Russian gas, the blocking of Russian gas, and they turned it into a trade policy. And with trade legislation under EU rules, All that is needed is a unanimous vote. So what the EU did is some trickery for many years, for 3 years. The Russian gas was a sanctions issue. And what did Ursula do? We've got tools. She decided to move things to becoming a trade issue, and all that was needed was a unanimous vote. So Hungary's veto, Slovakia's veto, not important. So this is going to be taken to court. I doubt that Hungary's going to be able to win, because I don't think the European courts are going to be fair either. I believe the European courts are also geopolitical tools. We've got tools. So Mette Frederiksen, since I brought up Greenland, she was celebrating the cutting off of Russian gas, the Prime Minister of Denmark.
We have been able to take a very, very important decision within the European Union to phase out fossil fuels from Russia. And I think, or I hope, that all Europeans can see now that it was a huge mistake to be dependent on Russian fossil fuels. We should never have done that. And now we have to make sure that we will have no dependencies on other countries outside Europe. Not only on energy, on everything.
Yeah, so Frederiksen was put in quite a bind over the whole Greenland thing, right? The whole theatrics. The EU is fighting with the United States. Very upset with the United States over Greenland. Frederiksen politically was very humiliated and embarrassed over Greenland. If there was no humiliation or embarrassment for Greenland, I'm positive that Frederiksen would have just handed it over to Trump. But the whole Greenland thing seems to have calmed down, has taken a backseat to other things, like a conflict with Iran. And Frederiksen is now very happy that the European Union is dependent on Trump energy, Trump LNG. That's what Trump should call it. If there's anyone in the Trump White House watching this video, you should call all the LNG going to Europe, you should brand it Trump LNG. Just to troll the Europeans. That would be kind of funny. in gold ships, Trump LNG. But yeah, she's saying that Europe should not be dependent with energy on other countries outside of Europe, she said. On countries outside of Europe. Is the United States, now that Europe is completely dependent on Trump LNG, I like it. I like that Trump LNG. That Alex, that's a good branding from that Alex. Trump LNG. If you like this video, hit the like button, share this video, and also subscribe to this channel. My channel just does not grow, at least not on YouTube. Anyway, Trump LNG, gold ships. I like it a lot. So, is the United States in Europe? Technically, no, but I think we've seen some 12D chess going on here. I think we've seen some 12D chess with the whole Greenland thing. So Frederiksen is saying that the EU should not be dependent for its energy needs on any countries outside of Europe. She uses the word Europe, outside of Europe. So I guess as the United States is taking parts of Greenland, according to the agreement that Trump made with Mark Rutte, the United States is going to get parts of Greenland, which will be territory of the United States, which would make the United States part of Europe. So Frederiksen is spot on. That's right. So yeah, the European Union, according to Frederiksen, Europe, getting the gas from the United States does mean that it's getting gas from Europe. Right? Okay. 10D chess being played with the whole Greenland thing. All right. So at least Europe has India, because Ursula signed the mother of all trade deals with Modi today, I believe, right? Was it today or yesterday? Doesn't matter. The EU and India clinch mother of all deals in rebuff of Trump. Yeah, I'm sure Trump is worried about the trade deal between the EU and India. India is coming out a big winner because India is going to be able to flood all of its products, goods, services into Europe. What is Europe going to provide India? As Europe is deindustrialized, and now the deindustrialization will further accelerate, I have no idea what Europe is going to be able to provide to India that India cannot already get from its BRICS partners and from trading with everyone else around the world, including Russia. But India is going to come out the big winner in this trade deal. And so we did a video on the Duran. Me and Alexander, we talked about this trade deal, and Alexander brought up a very good point, which highlights how big of a winner India is in this trade deal. If Trump and Bessent and Lindsey Graham, if they decide to talk up secondary sanctions against India and China, and any country that trades with India and China will have 500% tariffs, secondary tariffs, or 50% secondary tariffs. That would mean that the EU would have to either ditch the trade deal with India, or it would have to reject Trump and his warnings and his threats of tariffs if any countries trade with India. So that's an interesting scenario, and it's going to happen. Somewhere down the line in the next couple of weeks or couple of months, Trump is going to post on Truth Social, if any countries trade with India, 100% tariffs. And the EU is going to say, well, we just signed this mother of all deals trade deal with India. How are we going to deal with this threat from Trump? So that's an interesting point that Alexander brought up in the video that we recorded on the Duran, which will be up later this evening, my time. So India comes out the big winner because they're protected now from secondary sanctions. If Trump decides to impose secondary sanctions, at least when it concerns the European Union, they've got this trade deal with the EU, and the EU is not going to be able to go along with Trump's secondary sanctions because they've got the trade deal now with India, which means that because India is getting its oil from Russia, that in a way Russia also comes out a winner in all of this, right? Interesting stuff going on. So anyway, that is the mother of all trade deals, signed by Ursula and Modi. Check out the selfie that Maverick Macron posted from his meeting with Modi on X. What a wonderful memory of the Republic Day we shared together in 2024. Okay, this is from 2024. I thought Macron was in India. Okay. So he posts this yesterday, congratulating India on Republic Day, and it was actually a photo that he took with Modi in 2024. My dear friend Modi, dear Indian friends, my very best wishes on this great day of celebration. See you in February to continue building together. Okay, so he's going to India in February. Maverick Macron. I saw the photo and I didn't see the first sentence, his message, where he says that this was from 2024, and I thought that he was in India for the signing of the trade deal and for the Republic Day celebration. But nope, he was not there. And I was saying, I wonder why he's not wearing his sunglasses. Why is Macron not wearing his Maverick shades? I got the answer. I wonder if he's going to go to India in February wearing the Maverick aviator shades. I think he should. I think that should be his permanent look. So sticking with the EU, we have a post here from Hungary, from Balázs Orbán, who posted on X, according to an EU document, an $800 billion plan is being prepared for the reconstruction of Ukraine. This program does not include funds earmarked for armaments, for which the report indicates the EU would allocate an additional $700 billion under the EU's proposed financing package for the coming years, $1.5 trillion in total. Wow. Hungary's share, based on the union's allocation principles, would amount to approximately $16.1 billion. This would translate into a burden of roughly about $4,300 per average Hungarian household over the coming years. One thing is certain, as long as Hungary has a national government, there will be no new golden toilet in Kiev paid for with Hungarian taxpayer money. Wow, so I talked about the $800 billion plan, which is being advised by BlackRock. I talked about that a couple of days ago. But it looks like on top of the $800 billion, you're going to be looking at $700 billion in weapons, $1.5 trillion that is going to be going into the coffers of the Green Goblin. Oh, Podolyak. Podolyak, 1.5 trillion, Podolyak. Oh my God, Podolyak. I know, Mr. President, I know. 1.5 trillion. Wow. The 90 billion that they want to give to Ukraine is nothing compared to this 1.5 trillion. Of course, it's over 10 years, but wow. Wow. A lot of money. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. 1.5 trillion flushed down the golden toilet. That's a lot of money going into the golden toilet. I think that amount of money is going to clog up the golden toilet. Podolyak, give me the plunger. Give me the plunger, Podolyak. The toilet is stuck. Oh my God. 1.5 trillion. Yeah, so now we get a more clear picture as to why we have all of the oligarchs in Ukraine going at it up. Now you see why all of them are in a state of civil war. The Zelenskys, the Zaluzhnys, the Timoshenkos, the Poroshenkos, the Klitschkos. We're talking about a huge, massive amount of money that could be heading into Project Ukraine. All right, so and now you realize why it's so important, the elections in Hungary, huh? This is why the EU, they have to get Orbán out. That's why they're pulling all the stops, doing everything they can to get Orbán out and to get Magyar, their guy, in. Because Orbán could be threatening 1.5 trillion. It's a lot at stake. Germany is saying that they have no more Patriot air defense systems to give to the Green Goblin. They have been demilitarized and they've already given up a lot of their own stock, and they're waiting for Patriot air defense systems for the replacements of the Patriot air defense systems. They were promised to be number one on the list for Patriot resupply, Germany. But I don't think that resupply is coming until 2027, 2028. So Germany's no Patriots to give. No more Patriots to give. The Financial Times is reporting that the United States has told Zelensky that there will be no security guarantees unless he agrees to a deal with Russia. According to, I believe, the Financial Times cited 8 sources. That's a lot of anonymous officials familiar with the matter. These sources said that the Trump administration is linking U.S. security guarantees, whatever that means, with a deal in Ukraine, and they are telling Zelensky, just get your troops out of Donbass. They're not mentioning Kherson or Zaporozhye, and they're under the belief that all it's going to take to strike a deal with Russia is for the Ukraine military to leave Donetsk. I don't think the Russians see it like that, but any security guarantees, according to the Financial Times, hinges on Zelensky pulling his military out of Donetsk. Zelensky yesterday said that he will never pull his military out of Donetsk. And the Telegraph is reporting that France is blocking an EU plan to purchase Storm Shadow missiles for Ukraine. Since we're talking about weapons for the Green Goblin, France is arguing that any weapons purchased on behalf of Ukraine should be purchased from European MIC and not from British. Even though the Storm Shadow scalp isn't that a joint venture? I was under the belief that the Storm Shadow and the scalp was French and British. The scalp was the French version, and the Storm Shadow is the British version of the missile. But Macron is putting a block on purchasing from the UK. I think I know why. Macron is putting a block on purchasing Storm Shadows for Ukraine. That's going to be my clown world. I think Macron is upset with Starmer. I'll talk about it in my clown world. So did you guys catch Rutte's latest statement? Teflon Rutte. It looks like I was wrong yesterday about Rutte's nickname. He has many nicknames. He's a man with many nicknames. He's a man of mystery. He's a man with many nicknames. He goes by many aliases. His name is Mark Rutte. Or you can call him Pinocchio. Or you can call him Teflon Rutte. Yesterday I thought that he did not have the nickname of Teflon Rutte or Teflon Mark. I've heard of Teflon Trudeau and Teflon Don, but not Teflon Mark. But he does indeed have that nickname. And Teflon Mark, he was speaking yesterday, and he said that if anyone thinks that the EU or Europe as a whole can defend itself without the US, keep on dreaming. You can't. We can't. We need each other. Quite an admission from the CEO of NATO. The United States really is NATO. And NATO is the United States. And without the United States, there is no NATO. He finally admits it. Teflon Rutte. Dream on if you think that NATO can function without the United States. Dream on. According to Pinocchio. The NATO alliance is building some sort of an AI defensive fence to prevent a Russian invasion, and they're going to build a huge AI drone fence and all kinds of high-tech gear and cameras and monitoring and thousands of drones, and all of this is being put together along a huge line, a huge border with Russia, Belarus, even Ukraine. It's even going to take up part of the Ukraine border, which I think is kind of interesting. That this AI defensive fence is going to incorporate Ukraine as well, the border with Ukraine. But this is all about keeping Russia out, preventing Russia from invading Europe. My thinking is that this is all about keeping Europeans in, right? Very, very dystopian sci-fi kind of stuff going on. Escape from LA? Is the movie called Escape from LA with Kirk Douglas? Not Kirk Douglas, Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell. My bad. I was thinking Kirk Douglas, Michael Douglas. No, Kurt Russell. It's Escape from LA, isn't it? I'm thinking Escape from LA, Escape from New York. It's that kind of thing going on. Escape from the EU. Escape from the EU. You're going to try to get out of the EU once they put all the digital currencies in place and lock us all in. You're going to try to escape from the EU, and you're going to have all of these drones and cameras and everything monitoring you and not letting you get out. That's what's going on. That's what's going on here. NATO developing AI-powered hot zone along Russian border. The automated hot zone would stretch several thousand kilometers from the Arctic. Interesting, from the Arctic to the Black Sea along the borders of Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, and Moldova. NATO Deputy Chief of Staff of Operations General Thomas Lowen explained in an interview with German newspaper Welt. He stated that the so-called Eastern Flank Deterrence Line would be filled with sensors and effectors and have an AI system linking armed drones, sensor-equipped quadrupedal robots, semi-autonomous combat vehicles, unmanned robotic ground systems, and automated air and missile defenses designed to break the enemy's advance. Yeah, it's not about Russia. This is not about Russia. There's a prison that's being built. There's a prison that is being constructed. So Trump gave an interview to Axios, and he said that there is a huge armada that is heading towards the Middle East, and soon it will be in position to go to conflict with Iran, perhaps to strike at Iran. And Trump said that this armada is bigger than Venezuela. But Trump also told Politico that Iran wants to talk as well. So that is what Trump told Politico. We have a big armada next to Iran, bigger than Venezuela. But at the same time, Trump said they called on numerous occasions. They want to talk in reference to Iran. He believes that Iran wants a deal, or at least that's what he said. A carrot and stick approach. He used the same thing with Venezuela. He's going to do the same thing with Cuba, right? This is his approach. The Venezuelan model, the blockade model, where he sends all of these military assets to threaten a country, blockade a country. Then he puts out statements along the lines of they really want a deal, they want to talk, and I don't want to attack them. I really don't want to attack them. I really don't want to start a conflict. They want to talk. We're engaged in some diplomacy, and sooner or later the attack happens, or the operation happens. In the case of Venezuela, it was the operation to kidnap Maduro, right? So Trump puts all of this pressure. He puts out all of these carrot and stick statements. On the one hand, we have all of these military assets. All of this is anchored with the Abraham Lincoln carrier strike group. That's what's anchoring this operation. So we have all of these assets right next to Iran, and we're threatening Iran, but we're also going to engage in diplomacy, or you could say some diplomacy distraction. And as all of this chaos and uncertainty is going on, some sort of operation is launched. I think this is how Trump does things, or how he would like to do things. That's what he did with Venezuela. I wonder if Iran's going to be fooled by any of this. Time will tell. So Gerasimov, he issued a statement about what is happening on the front lines, and this is pretty big news, actually. In the Zaporozhye direction, in the southern direction, according to the chief of the general staff, Russia is 12 to 14 kilometers from the city of Zaporozhye, from the outskirts of the regional center, from the center of Zaporozhye, from the outskirts of the regional center. He said they're 12 to 14 kilometers away. I think soon we're going to have the battle for Zaporozhye. And when Russia eventually takes Zaporozhye, we talked about this in a video with Stanislav, actually, which is up on the Duran. When Russia does take Zaporozhye, that is going to be a massive, maybe even a decisive defeat to Project Ukraine and to the collective West. So what else before we get to a clown world? Putin's going to meet with Al-Jilani again in Moscow. Not a good look, but okay. Not a good look at all. I believe the Russian military had to pull out of certain areas where they were operating close to where the Kurds were, because the Kurds got smashed. I saw some news headlines about that. The Russian military was pulling out of certain areas where the fighting was wrapping up with the Kurds against the Kurdish forces. But anyway, Al-Jilani, also known as Al-Shara, also known as Zelensky, he is going to be traveling to Moscow to meet with Putin. Zelensky the other day met with Tikhanovskaya, the person who claims to be the president of Belarus, met with the man who claims to be the president of Ukraine. It's kind of Guaido number 2. So Juan Guaido is the original. Tikhanovskaya is Juan Guaido number 2. And I guess Zelensky was Juan Guaido number 3. So he met with Tikhanovskaya yesterday. Hello, Ms. Tikhanovskaya. Nice to meet you. I'm Juan Guaido number 3. You're Juan Guaido number 2. So yeah, they met yesterday. And we can do a clown world now. We can do a clown world and wrap this video up. And I said that I think I know the reason why Macron is blocking the purchase of Storm Shadow missiles from the UK for Project Ukraine. And I think the reason is because 008 Keir Starmer was making fun of Macron and his shades. I think that Keir Starmer is jealous of Maverick Macron. So yeah, he started to put on the shades. Everyone was laughing. I don't think this was a friendly joke against Macron. I think that Starmer was mocking and making fun of Macron. Macron's not going to like that. So he's blocking the Storm Shadows. I'm just kidding. I don't think that's the reason he's blocking the Storm Shadows, but you never know. You never know with these European leaders what's going on in their heads. Anyway, Starmer was having some fun because he's an exciting and funny guy. He's a funny guy. A funny guy. He's a clown. He's a funny guy. He makes everyone laugh, that Keir Starmer. And so he put on the sunglasses and he decided to look cool. You see 008. The nickname 008 is now there. It's now reality. Keir Starmer is wearing sunglasses, though his shades look kind of cheap compared to Macron's aviators. I don't know. Macron's aviators look a lot nicer, a lot more expensive than what Starmer was wearing. Anyway, that is the video, everybody. theduran.locals.com. We are on X and Rumble and Telegram. We are also on Substack, so definitely subscribe to our Substack page and go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch, 26% off all merch. There is a link to the Duran shop down below. There's my flag and my Duran jacket. I will see everybody tomorrow. Take care.